AFTERBUZZ TV Network. Now the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV Survivor After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV Survivor After Show.
Yeah, hey guys, Bing is for doing, and we're doing another episode wrap-up of Survivor Season 26, Fans vs. Favorites. Tonight was one of the most explosive episodes in Survivor history, so we're going to talk about what everyone's basically talking about, the Brandon Hans meltdown. But before we do that, let's introduce our panel, the one and only
Jerri Manthey.
Can we just point out Jerri's face so far since the whole intro? She just is not pleased.
No, yeah. I'm literally sick to my stomach right now. I feel like I need to take a shower. I feel like someone dumped a big bucket of poo on me.
I thought she was going to say I need to take a shit and take a shower.
I thought she was going to say too.
Well, we're going to get to that on why Jerri feels like that. We got AJ over here.
I'm AJ. I want to apologize to all of our listeners and viewers from last week. I was a mess. So I read some of your comments. I literally messed up the first 10 minutes of the entire episode completely.
Yeah. What else is
he needs to take a break this week.
Yeah.
He showed up late. And hey, everybody, I'm Allen Carrillo, and I agree, AJ was terrible last week.
And we are lucky enough to have a very, very special guest with us tonight. We have the one and only Abi-Maria Gomes from Survivor Philippines. So welcome back to AfterBuzz, Abi. What we're really excited about tonight is we have our classic old school villain, Jerri, one of the originals, and then also we got our new school villain here, Abi. So this is exciting to have both in studio tonight.
What if you girls
cat fight.
What if you girls get to play together someday?
She wanted to take a shit. You said you want to take a shit? No, not a shit.
Shower.
I wanted to take a shot.
Cheers.
People have been doing tonight.
Cheers.
Yeah, we've had a full night tonight.
Inside this yellow cup, you guys never know what's going on. Yeah.
Well, tonight, clearly, everybody's going to be talking about it. Everyone in terms of the Survivor community outside of the reality world. Brandon Hans blew up completely. We're going to definitely be talking about that for probably most of our show, getting into that. So before we get into that, let's lead up into what actually went down before that. The fans got back from voting off Laura last week, who was a very good strategic player. Reynold kind of approached the tribe and just basically, let's try and work together as a unit, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, no, but I don't even remember what happened before.
Yeah. It was black and white. It was boring.
I think the only thing I remember is that Michael, he was saying basically he doesn't trust Reynold, and it's kind of when they made that decision to go with strength versus loyalty, they should try and patch together. We'll see what actually happens.
Well, at this point, can you really, I mean, saying he doesn't trust Reynold, I mean, what are your other options? Yeah. There are 6 of you left. Yeah. Like, you better trust him. And at least enough to get to the merge.
In my opinion, it's sort of shifting where Reynold is sort of the leader of the tribe now. Like, he's definitely taken over. And then it sort of went into how bad the weather has been, because and how tired everyone has been.
Amen. I love seasons when the weather is just awful. I love seeing Survivors just miserable.
AJ, seriously, I hope you get put on Survivor one day. Like everything you're about to say for the next, I don't know, hour of talking to you, I know I'm going to be holding back punches.
Thank you, Jerri.
He's like the Republican on the panel.
Yeah,
I know, right?
Okay, let's back it up. Let's not get crazy. No, do not hold back, because I surely won't. So.
Jerri, when we were watching Jerri and Abi, you guys, when you saw the feet and the hands, it brought back memories for you guys.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Post-traumatic stress disorder kicks in almost every episode, and that's like one of the triggers for me is just the wet, cold blech of the rain.
Ditto,
never being dry.
Ditto.
Yeah.
It brought back memories for me, too, of getting a bubble bath when I was a little kid. A nice, warm bubble bath.
You would be such a villain, AJ.
We also would say on our show for 2 episodes, we were completely in the snow and slept on the snow. Like, not on a cot, on the snow.
Yes,
No
with food
way.
poisoning, and because I digested apparently poop water, and then I got elevation poisoning. I'm just saying, I don't feel sorry for your wrinkly toes.
Oh, wait, did you say frozen. 2 days you felt like crap? Oh.
It was 30 total. 30 total.
And when you ate something that made you sick? Oh.
See, this is what happens with like an AfterBuzz full of villains. There will be a fight here towards the end, you guys.
It's gonna be a little hostile.
Be ready.
And Justin's not a nice person either, so he's a villain.
I'm a villain at heart.
Can I just also point out the funniest thing is that the one person in this entire room who probably deserves to be on a reality television show more than any of us is the only one who has
Thank you. One day you'll be on.
Did you say Monday?
One day.
Oh, okay.
One day.
But he sure has a nice tan.
Oh, thank you. I was in the
he's just red.
pretending to be on Survivor all week. I did bring my villain buff and wore it on the beach a couple times. So. I'm a loser. But going back to, let's talk about Brandon. So this episode obviously was focused on Brandon, but it was kind of a slow build to the huge meltdown that we're going to talk about. When he got back from Tribal Council, a lot of it was him talking about how he wanted out of the game. He couldn't do this because his family, and he didn't want to be away from his kids. And he said to them, next time we go to Tribal Council, you guys can vote me off.
Well, it's interesting that the kids come up, because the kids come up again later in the episode, which we'll get to. I think that...
I mean, do you guys buy it?
He's an interesting one. I think that he believes it.
Yeah,
I really do
think he believes it in that particular moment.
Yeah,
but as you can see, 10 minutes later, 2 hours later, then he's like, no, I'm here to play. He's already tried to quit like 3 times, like saying weird things like that.
Well,
like
Corinne brought it to our attention, I think in the first or second episode. He was just like, this guy, like, he says one thing 1 second, and the next second he's taking it back, and like, he's bipolar.
And he's like, that's what serial killers do.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's just trying to put together an act. Is he for real? I mean, or is he acting? I mean,
I don't think he's that good of an actor, to be honest with you.
You know what I think? Because he's obviously not playing a game to win Survivor. Like, it's just not, he's not playing that game. I think he's really going on there to try to create a persona that'll get him another show. It worked for Russell. Russell has another show.
I agree.
And now that's almost what you have to do, because Survivor's still a huge show. It's not what it was 8 or 9 years ago, though.
Jerry has the floor.
He's gonna go on intervention. Let's just say that.
I'm actually meditating right now because I'm so sick to my stomach. Like, okay, let's just kick it back another, decade, when Survivor was this game that was respected, that was played for people. People went in that game because they wanted to win, not because they wanted something
Richard
afterwards.
Hatch, really. Continue.
No, Richard Hatch won.
I agree with Jerry on all this.
He was a great
And then
player.
he went to prison. Continue.
That has nothing to do with it. But I'm saying that the game is like, it's become a zoo. It's like this joke, and that's what happened tonight. Is, as far as I'm concerned, is that Survivor became a big joke. Like, someone goes on with the idea that I'm going to be so over the top that I'm going to get another show out of it.
I think that's just, let me just point this out. I also think that's just how the world is right now, too. You think, even take a game as simple as football, like now it's about the endorsement deals and everything else and how you act in public and how everything's changing. That's like how the world just is.
This is why I love Survivor.
I don't have to like it.
I know. This is why I love Ryan, though, because he's aware of these things. He's aware of the shifts. And the thing about Survivor is it shifts. Every couple of seasons it shifts. And whether you love it or hate it, the point is we're talking about it. And that's what makes Survivor so great.
Well, that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're sitting here talking about Survivor.
Do you know how much I hated? Let's go back to season 1. Season 1, when Kelly won the last 5 immunity challenges by herself. Everybody wanted to get rid of her. Sue wanted to get rid of her. Richard wanted to get rid of her. They were all trying to get rid of her. She won 5 in a row. She was, I think it was 5 or 4. I think it was 5. She was incredible, and then she lost it. Like, the person you want to win never wins Survivor, first of all. Every single season, Survivor changes and it shifts. And it really does reflect what's going on in society, which is really kind of cool, I think.
But I think what Jerry's saying, and I agree with Jerry, in the fact that the reason Brandon Hans was put on the show was for that moment. They wanted this to happen with Brandon.
Oh, of course.
He was completely unstable in his first season. There's rumors and speculation on the internet that he didn't pass the psych test to even get on this season. So they knew going into this season, the reason they put Brandon on as a favorite, he's not a favorite, was to have the moment that we had tonight. The complete meltdown, and kind of like Jerry said, it's not true to the game of Survivor.
Well, I think it's a pretty risky move on CBS's part, because CBS is a pretty conservative network generally. It's a pretty risky move on their part. If Brandon was really, if all this is all speculation, but if it is true and he didn't pass the psych test, and to put him out there in this intense situation, something could have gone wrong very easily.
Well, that is exactly.
It almost did.
That's exactly why I don't know. I was very, very uncomfortable during the challenge when Jeff Probst literally made him remove himself from that side of the arena.
Jeff is great, P.S.
And Jeff was giving him a massage and trying to calm him down, and then had to give him directions. Okay, Brandon, I'm going to have you walk around the side of the challenge, and I'll meet you back there. Like, in other words, don't go running straight towards Phillip to go punch him in the face.
Okay, when one man gives another man a massage, one of two things. There's one of two outcomes. We all know the other outcome. The first outcome is that you're trying to keep him from killing somebody. And I think that's what Jeff was doing.
That's exactly what he was doing. Because, I managed and was an executive for nightclubs for years. And, like, let me tell you, there's always fights with alcohol. And when you separate people like that, you literally talk to them like they're 2-year-olds. And you're just like, okay, listen, I'm going to let you go. We're not going to call the police.
You call him buddy, you call him bro.
You put your arm around them. He did exactly what you have to do to coddle them, to, like, calm him down. Because Lord knows he was going to run and, like, dive on Phillip and, get crazy.
Do you guys think
Which
that
I would have loved, actually.
Yeah, no.
Do you guys think that he could have, like, taken Phillip down?
100%.
You think?
Yeah, I think Phillip's all
Isn't he
talk.
like this little though?
I think Phillip's all talk.
No, in terms of going after
Like,
it.
I mean, not in a fight.
Oh,
like,
you mean actually if they actually fought, who would
She wants to
win?
know our UFC predictions.
No. Oh, jeez.
I think Phillip would kick his ass.
I think Phillip could hold his own.
Oh,
He's
no.
pretty
I think so,
strong.
too.
I think there's
but
some.
Brandon has that passion, which would just get out of
Brandon
control.
has that thing, that
Good
psycho
point.
thing. He's like a pit bull. How pit bulls, they always say pit bulls don't have like nerves. They don't feel, like they just keep fighting to the death.
I feel like
Brandon.
he's a chihuahua.
release.
Bark, 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 but doesn't bite.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a really close fight, but I don't want to see that.
No.
And
No.
I know from my own
Does.
personal experience being on the show with crazy people, and it's happened in more than one season that I've done. Actually, I think in every single season I've been in, there's been one loose cannon that literally makes you afraid to be alone with them.
I get what you're saying, because it really does kind of, in a way, just to play both sides of it here, in a way it kind of lowers Survivor to like that MTV Real World Road Rules challenge level, where there's always those sorts of fights. And when you see somebody, like, the great thing about Survivor is that you can see people from all generations and all different income levels and all different regions of the country competing in this game that's classic and just revered across the country. Whereas those other MTV challenges, those are all just a bunch of kids that are drunk and loose cannons. On Survivor though, like, when the look in Dawn's eyes throughout the episode just devastated me.
Yeah.
Because I adore Dawn, and to see
also
how
point out the fight was probably dragged on way longer than what we saw, and have to live in it, and the weather and everything else. Like, she was over it. I'm sure it's a huge sense of relief for them.
And that's in terms of, Jerri, you were saying that in your seasons, you actually kind of experienced nothing in terms of the grand scheme of what we saw with Brandon. But what is the talk around camp? What is the analysis of how long do we keep a person like this versus what they did tonight? Tonight, they forfeited immunity so they could basically get rid of Brandon.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. Nobody wants to give up immunity. Nobody does.
Especially favorites who've played the game and they're coming back for that second chance.
And they're way more competitive than the fans, which is obvious, and that's why they keep winning. They're just very passionate about it. So this is like a huge loss. And nobody wanted to do it, but he literally forced the car.
Just to put this option out there, though, do we think that, because we saw when Phillip went to Andrea, and then also Brandon went to her.
Yeah.
In that moment, Brandon thought it was squashed. I know he's a little bit bipolar, but let's just play that out and see if this could have happened this way. When Brandon then pulled Phillip over at the beginning of the episode and said, "Hey, I thought this was squashed. Can we just move past this?" Could they have gotten through at least one more challenge, won the challenge, eliminated another one of the fans, and then gone the next round and then thrown a challenge? Could that have happened? Because it looked on camera like Brandon was trying. Or do you think that they were just so thrown off by him all the time they didn't know what to expect?
Phillip is also just as crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And he has in his mind, this person has to go. I feel like that's the same thing. I mean, the only other person who can really relate to this is Miss Abby, who they all wanted her off the tribe because they couldn't stand her either.
Right. Well, we all have to be a little bit crazy to be on that show, right?
Oh, sure.
Clearly.
That's true. There is always an element of crazy in everybody.
And that's so at the reward challenge, they had this challenge where it was throwing coconuts into a net. And
I thought you were gonna say throwing coconuts into Mike Scoopin's head.
Oh, that's your season. Flashbacks over there.
Sorry.
But so it's a challenge that we've never seen on Survivor before, where they throw coconuts into a net,
Mike
and then
Scoopin's head. Oh,
they have to
sorry.
hold them up. We see it every season on Survivor. But basically, the favorites won, and then we actually had a little feed meltdown for our East Coast feed, and we didn't see when, after the reward challenge, Phillip took credit for basically winning it for the team, and that set off Brandon, leading him into his or that's the beginning of the downward spiral. And they had a big altercation, like you said.
Yeah.
Andrea got in the middle of it, where it was a back and forth, and then it kind of started blowing up.
It breaks my heart to see. I don't know why, and I think this is just.
You have a heart?
Well, yeah. I think that it's so weird to. I don't think it. I think it's a man thing. Whether you're gay, straight, whatever you are, when you see a girl cry, there's something about it just breaks your heart.
Right.
And to see Andrea upset and to see Dawn upset, just like really just kind of made me melt. I hate that everybody else was dragged into the situation. But if I know one thing, obviously Phillip is crazy as shit. So is Brandon. But nothing drives you crazier if you're a crazy person. Nothing can drive you crazier than somebody else who can kind of keep their cool.
Yeah.
And Phillip keeps his cool, and he knows exactly what he's doing.
Passive-aggressive behavior is sometimes the most infuriating.
Absolutely, and that
Drives
just
you
sets
nuts.
Brandon off, and he knows his triggers. He knows. It's like, do you have a brother or sister you know how to like push their buttons? Phillip is like the big brother who knows how to push Brandon's buttons, and Brandon just
such a
can't
good
handle
point.
it.
And let's just say this for the record. How bizarre is it that we were all sitting around here talking about Phillip as if he is the one in charge? Who would have ever guessed?
Because he is. It's crazy.
That in itself is totally insane.
Wait. There is also another strategy. That's called the Brenda strategy. Watch out for Brenda, guys. I swear to God,
Brenda, when we saw her in the road show, just like Jeff said, Brenda. Brenda's in this season?
It's just
Who's
horrifying.
Brenda?
You'll see her in the second half of the season. I promise
Not
you.
at all. She
Can
no way.
I also just say what is the worst
man.
feeling in the world? The worst feeling in the world is when you're talking shit about somebody and the person you're talking shit about hears you. Like that's just like so uncomfortable. Like
When did that happen?
When Brandon heard Andrea and Phillip talking, like he completely heard what they were saying. It just
I
drives
missed
me
that part.
nuts.
And that's when Andrea, she could have in that moment chosen to lie to Brandon, saying Phillip doesn't want you out. We're all good to go. But she said, I don't have a good feeling about this. I don't think this is going well.
She was in such like
Shock.
it was so obvious that she was like not telling the truth.
You know, this is also what I saw happen tonight that might be why it kind of triggered the sickness in my stomach was Dawn and Andrea, you know, they both had these moments that in the context of Survivor, which is, it's very real in a lot of ways, but you still always keep in the back of your mind, this is a game, it's a game. But when two people go at it and it becomes almost scary in a situation like that, it's almost like everything becomes too real. And you're forced to like, you know, check yourself. Like, oh, I'm in a game, but this is actually happening. Like someone could get seriously hurt.
Talk about what you mentioned earlier too. You also said like when he poured the rice out, like that's like your livelihood. And like, what's your thoughts on that?
That, I mean, he might as well have literally punched everybody in the face and like.
Because that's when the tears first came for Andrea. Because she was just like,
it's when,
what are we going to do? Because your thought is like, what am I going to do now?
Yeah, when someone has a violent outburst, again, you suddenly feel like you're not safe anymore. Because there's always a sense of some kind of safety because, you know, the camera guys are there. There's guys in the woods in case you get hurt. But when another player has a total meltdown and it's violent, you suddenly realize how scary this whole thing is. It becomes almost overwhelming and too real.
Yeah. See, I understand that. I disagree with the rice thing. I think that the pouring out of the rice, as awful as it is, I think that's part of the game. It's
No,
part
but
of,
no,
it-
it's
I-
not.
I think it is. I think
No,
it messes with people's heads. People have taken away people's shoes. They've taken away people's clothing before.
And they
It's
should
just-
have been thrown off the game.
I don't think so. However, the physical thing, though, that's scary because as much as producers and people try to control the game, it still is a game, and things can go wrong. When there's a physical threat, that's just crossing the line. I want to see somebody not have rice. They're not going to die.
Well, in terms of someone who's never played the game, obviously Jerri and Abby, you're very animated in terms of the idea of rice. That is not cool what Brandon did in dumping all the rice. So in terms of two players who have been out there on Survivor, why are you guys basically so, you know,
Pro rice.
So pro rice that you cannot do that?
It's your livelihood.
Yeah,
you literally
eat it.
I mean, I'm not kidding. Like you have maybe a handful of rice
a day.
and when you eat it, you literally eat a grain, and you get
Yes.
sad when you look and it's all gone. You're just like you want to cry. This is like your life.
And then you go to do the challenges, and if you don't have anything to eat before, you will faint. There are and I wasn't really participating on the challenges because I tore my ACL, and that was undisclosed. You know, nobody ever talked about it.
We were all like, why is she sitting out again?
Every challenge.
Don't watch any of our old shows, by the way. Don't watch any of our old shows.
We did talk about that every episode.
What is she doing?
But you guys really, I did injure myself the first day. But anyways, yes, you know, and everybody that's, you know, the challenges that I participated on, if I wouldn't have had that little handful of rice the night before, I would have fainted. And I'm like 5'2".
Yeah. It's a really big deal to sabotage the food source.
Okay, well, I want to ask you about this then, really, just to go back an episode or two when Shamar was there. Do you think that somebody like you, who gets a handful of rice, and somebody like Shamar, do you think he should also get a handful of rice?
Imagine
but
that.
Is that a fair thing? Is that how it goes down out there?
Is it fair for a woman to be competing against a man? I mean, we get our periods every month.
Yes. Yes, we could have a whole conversation about that.
I've had enough of your period conversations.
I know, right?
Just for the fans out there, before taping, these two are bonding over periods.
It's an unfair advantage from the very beginning.
It really is.
I drove Abby here, and we had to get tampons on the way, just so everybody is aware of what went on.
Unfair advantage. Unfair advantage. Tell that to Tina Wesson, one of my favorites. I'm just saying. Oh, wait, she was a little older though.
Because she was a woman. That she won as a woman.
Yeah, she was.
Well, that's because Colby gave her $1 million with all this beef.
So, Jerri, in terms of, let's say Jerri and Abby, you guys feel really strongly about this. Would you be proponents for the idea that if you touch rice or you throw rice or you do anything with rice, that you are kicked out of the game?
Yes, you should not be allowed. There's actually in the contract that if you in any way harm another player, that you will be much from the game.
That is harming the whole tribe.
That is harming everyone.
Interesting.
Yes.
No, that's silly because you can harm somebody with words so much easier than you can harm somebody with food. So like that's part of the game. So how can you like dictate? That's a really slippery slope, I think, to say that you can't do that. Then what's to say then like now you can't hide somebody's shoes or you can't hide somebody's immunity item if they found it. And you can't like cut a hole in the tarp. You can't do all these other things. Or, like put out the fire and people are cold. Like then it takes away from the game.
Survivor of the fittest.
Yeah, I mean I think it's a different. Obviously, you have a very different perspective playing it 3 times. You have.
I need you to go play the game.
Girl, I would literally on my bucket list. #1 is probably to play Survivor.
Yeah, so it's interesting in terms of obviously the livelihood, like you were saying, in terms of the rice. But we just want to take the time right now to encourage all of our fans to go to iTunes, and we obviously love doing our show every week for you guys. And we want you to comment on our iTunes. One thing we've been trying to do too is comment on who your favorites are this season. We want to try and link up fans with favorites via our show. We've had people comment on YouTube at our Twitter handle.
They also said that they wanted Abby.
Yeah, so we've gotten Abby. We got her here tonight.
Everybody.
Jerri, you've gotten some love. Jonathan Penner, Ethan Zahn, Sari, Parvati. We've had a lot of people commenting. So keep your comments. We'll definitely try and get them on and hopefully link up some fans over our show. But definitely rate us. Give us 5 stars. We love doing the show and want to hear your feedback on iTunes. So
tell everyone about us.
Tell everybody.
And share us. We like to be shared.
Share. So we definitely have to get to, they go to this immunity challenge. We kind of discussed it. They go to this immunity challenge, and right away, Brandon steps up and goes crazy, telling the fans that he's going to give them an advantage in the game.
Well, because his tribe had already told him, like, look, we're getting rid of your ass.
Yeah, he knew it was done.
Yeah. And Corinne steps up and says, Jeff, we are voluntarily throwing this challenge.
Brave move.
And we're giving it up. We're forfeiting.
Well, I feel, first of all, Corinne is like Jerri Manthey light, first of all.
We're not even in the same category.
Second of all.
Curly hair.
You like her tweets.
That's enough. Hey,
her tweets are great.
Jerri, curly hair.
I want to meet you, Corinne. I want to meet you.
Curly hair is enough for a gay man to make the correlation. No, I feel like, and obviously I'm kind of an outlier. I think we're kind of split on this panel. But I feel like Brandon's back was against the wall. I felt like he did what he thought as a man he needed to do for himself, as opposed to what he needed to do in the context of the game.
He didn't have to do anything. He's the one who created that entire scenario.
I'm telling you this, if you went into it and you knew that your entire tribe was going to throw the challenge and they weren't going to do anything, I mean, what do you have to lose?
Roll over and cry about it?
I would use that chance to just read everybody.
And get your own spin-off.
I love the fans' faces. Like, they're just like, what in the world is going on?
Because they're going in thinking, really, we can't win a challenge to save our lives, and they're afraid they're going to go down. What would it have been, 9-5?
Yeah, Matt had just said earlier in the day when it was raining, he was like, I just wish something good could happen to us.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments was when he had Erik give the immunity idol to the fans tribe. And Reynold was like, Jeff, can you at least say immunity and put your hands up?
Did he ever do it, actually?
No, he didn't do it. We didn't see it.
He
But
said
the fact that
he'll do it later.
there was
That's what he
so
said.
much tension and there was so much kind of...
It was like perfect timing.
It was perfect timing. We were dying. I needed that as a viewer. I felt so uncomfortable watching this entire scene.
Yeah.
So thank you, Reynold, for doing that. And one thing we didn't mention yet is that when our feed went out, Reynold found the immunity, the hidden idol again, which is kind of crazy. That
Which is kind of stupid. I hate that about Survivor nowadays.
I wonder because we didn't see it.
Oh, that's just part of the game, AJ.
I wonder where, where did he, I mean, clearly they probably hid it in his backpack.
Well, that's the thing.
In
I
his
feel
shorts.
like I feel like what's the point of? It used to be with a hidden immunity idol, there was strategy to playing it. Like, I'm going to hold on to this. How far do I think I can make it without it? When do I think I can use it to my advantage and get the most bang for my buck?
And don't tell anybody about it.
But now, if I'm playing Survivor now, I'm like, screw it. I'm going to play this thing every single immunity challenge or every single tribal council, and then tomorrow I'm going to go find it again because I'm smarter than everybody in my tribe, and I'm just going to keep doing it over and over again. Russell Hance did it. Now Reynold of all people is doing it.
Why do you say of all people? I think Reynold is one of the best players out there right now.
But that's not saying a whole lot. I think the fans this season. I think the fans this season are a little weak. I think they're a little, other than Sherry. Is it Sherry? Yeah. Other than them, I feel like they're all kind of idiots.
No, I think you're underselling Matt, Michael, Reynold, and Sherry. I think they're 4 very strong fans. And I think that if they get the opportunity next week, clearly there's probably going to be a swap or something. Hopefully they can infiltrate the tribe.
What they need to understand is that CBS tailor-made this season for a favorite to win. So they need to start getting some airtime somehow, doing something ridiculous and crazy so that they can maybe come back another season.
Here we go again.
Walk around naked.
Yeah.
That's really what Survivor is nowadays. It's almost like because every single season they bring back previous players, so now it's almost like if you're a first timer, your goal the first time should not be to win the game. Your goal almost should just be, unless you're Denise, she's amazing, she's an outlier, but it's almost like your goal should be just to try to get on another season.
Which I predict Abby will definitely be on a future season.
I freaking hated her last year. Now I love her. I mean, perfect candidate.
Yeah.
I would love to redeem myself, Jerry.
Oh.
I would,
Why are you telling me?
Cheers.
Oh my gosh.
Cheers, Abby.
I just want to say that I defended Abby all last season. I just want to go on record, on camera, saying that.
You clearly
he was
love
saying-
the villain.
He was screaming that it was
so
cultural.
make sure to vote for me at Reality Wanted, okay? 'Cause
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's up for best villain.
I actually did vote for you about 2 nights ago.
That's awesome.
Do it again.
Swear
you
to
can
God.
do it every day.
Jerry, are you up for
Over
that?
me?
Are you up for that?
I don't know
know.
anything about it.
Oh, explain, Ryan. You know about it.
Reality
You're the only one
Wanted.
from Survivor,
From
right?
Survivor,
And
yeah,
what
the only
Kardashian is
one.
on there?
It's Scott.
Scott
Disick.
Disick, yeah.
He's a villain.
Scott Disick.
Yeah.
And the award is it's in 2 weeks, I think.
It's the week after Reality
April
Rally, actually.
11th.
Yeah.
April 11th at
April
Greystone
11th,
Manor.
yeah.
Good luck.
We'll be
Good
there.
Oh, is it
Yeah.
the reality award show or
Reality
something?
Wanted, awards.
It's the first award
You're covering
show for
the red carpet.
reality
I saw you on the
television.
list.
Very
Oh,
good.
perfect.
Cool.
I
Be
can't
there.
wait to cover the red carpet. I look
Yeah,
forward
it's
to it.
the first.
You know what? I just have to share a little story about the red carpet. I think I'm probably the only person in the history of Hollywood who has stood on the red carpet and interviewed people and then put down her mic and then walked down around and then walked the red carpet.
Oh, no.
All the time.
We have. Can I tell you a little quick secret? One time, I
Don't
walked.
try to outdo the gays, Jerry.
If I'm wrong, tweet me.
Jerry, Jerry, let me just tell you
At
one
Jerri
time,
Manthey.
I've walked red carpets at like nightclubs, at events, and then gone inside, changed my clothes, and worked behind the bar as a bartender. So
I thought you were going to say that you were
Yeah,
like
that's a good one.
being the go-go dancer or something. That's a lot more fun.
That's pretty
funny.
good, but still not what I said.
Yeah. One thing in terms of Brandon this episode, one thing that we all kind
Take us back.
or Jerry shuddered when Jeff Probst, we knew he would do it, brought up Russell. It's in terms of, your infamous uncle Russell, one of the best notorious
The greatest of all
players
time.
to play the
most
game.
notorious villain of all Survivor history.
We clearly had to get a Russell mention in there. So my question to you guys
Right.
is, when is it enough with the Hanses? Are we Big Brother?
Never.
We had
Never.
Willie get kicked off Big Brother last season for basically doing what Brandon did this season. We have Brandon in Survivor. We have Russell. I am sick
It's
of
the
the
same
Hanses.
story over and over, and every time, you know, Russell went back and played a second time. He played the same exact game he played the first 2 times that he played, and look what happened.
How many times has he played?
He played 3 times.
Oh.
Here's the thing about reality.
Never won and never will.
Never will.
Because he
But
doesn't play to win.
I think they're just trying to create a whole like Russell Hans or a Hans Brands type of
It
thing.
is a brand.
It can't be for real. I mean,
it's
Let
a
me
they're
just
not
say
playing
for the
to
record,
win.
even speaking his name out loud, I think is giving him way too much airtime.
And here's-
I
okay.
would love
That's
to change
exactly
the
what's
subject.
happening. Yeah.
Let me just say this. I adore Jerri. I love you. It's kind of like, to me, when people make the argument like the Kardashians are talentless and they're worthless.
They're
It's
making money
They're
by
making money.
saying
They're
that.
doing their thing.
They're
and
good
the thing
at,
is,
they're
and-
good
yeah.
at making money.
Exactly. Russell
Yeah.
Hans
At the end
is
of the
good
day.
at staying in the spotlight. I mean,
True.
People magazine still covers him. TV Guide magazines cover him. Networks cover. Like, he's got his own
Where?
spin-off show.
I haven't seen
Wow.
anything.
I'm just saying he's always out there. You ask people across the country, do you know who Russell Hans is? People know.
Okay,
Whether they watch Survivor or not, they know. So that does something
He
for
believes
him.
everything
Gotta
Russell
give
says.
credit.
And no, I like I said, I've never played the game with him, but you have to give the guy credit for staying relevant somehow.
I'd also say this, that, you know, he is popular enough that, like, when people are watching, fans or not, and they're seeing Brandon go crazy, like, they're like probably like, I wonder what Russell is doing, or like what his reaction is, because that's what everybody's doing afterwards. I'm guaranteed there's a full social media firestorm right now where
Absolutely.
people are like, what's going on?
Don't they have
He's
their
probably
own
reading
Well, you
YouTube
know
people.
what?
channel now? They
I
have
would-
their
Yeah,
own
they'd be-
YouTube.
This
yeah.
is my own personal challenge to all of you social networking freaks out there, and I am one of them. I'm going to say this. How about if we all do the one thing that no one's expecting and stop talking about them?
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Well, you realize, you know, Brandon's kids will now be on Survivor.
Oh,
You know what? Let me just say
Yeah,
for the record.
we need a girl Hans. A girl Hans.
I am frightened that any of those people in that family breed.
It's like having another
They
Bush.
are breeding, Jerry.
You know what it's
They
like?
are
It's
breeding.
like the Bush family. It's like they keep taking over the White House.
Right.
The Hanses keep taking
Did
over
you see
reality.
that?
There's also a
There's
gay
another
Hans.
Bush
I met
coming
the
up.
gay Hans. There's a gay
There's
Hans
another
too.
Bush
What is he
running
like?
for office
really
right now. I just
Calm it
found-
down, Abi-Maria. But the thing is, here's
He
the thing
follows me
though,
on Twitter.
and this is what's happened with reality. After you hit a certain climax, your ratings start to go down, and you need to start doing these kind of. They're kind of pathetic because here's the thing. Yeah, exactly. Because the thing is, I love watching Russell as a character, but at the same time, I completely understand that like. The Hans name, they're all douchebags on these shows. I know that. I'm very aware of that. I'm very aware of what I'm watching. I'm very aware that when I watch Kim Kardashian, she doesn't have 2 brain cells to put together. But I love her. But I love her. And she
Yeah.
seems sweet and endearing, and I like her. So that's kind of how I am with these Hanses. I'm like, I try to always find people who stand out for whatever reason. Last season it was Abi-Maria, and I tried to defend her and be like, try to understand her a little bit. This season I did the same thing with Shamar. I like to try to understand the people that are reacting completely differently, and they're not just like the whitewashed middle-of-the-road contestants that float through every season that just bore the shit out of
And
me.
you were right on point with Shamar.
Well, no, but I'm saying, but like,
And Abi-Maria.
but I like to understand the people who are different and why are they different and what makes them different. So like, I think that's why I do enjoy the Hanses, because I'm outspoken and I can appreciate somebody who's like, listen, y'all aren't going to steamroll me. 8 of you guys are going to vote me out and going to throw a challenge. Watch this. I'm going to turn it around, and instead of everybody talking about how great of a guy Phillip is tonight and how wonderful you guys are as a tribe, they're going to be talking about Brandon. That's all anybody's going to talk about for the next week until the next episode of Survivor.
True.
Right. And at the finale too.
Yeah, and I respect that. I understand that. Do I think that is great? Do I think he's a stand-up guy? Absolutely not. He's probably a tool. But
Tool is a good
Well,
word.
it's
Yeah.
also very frustrating when you're at the finale and you want to get to know the players that you didn't really get to know very much during the season. And Jeff spends the entire finale reunion show talking to that one person who got all this crazy attention.
But I look at it this way. I'm like, if
I'm
there's
like, let him have his own interview one-on-one on his talk show.
But
But do not on the reunion show. That's when I want to get to know all the other players that were also
Lisa
interested.
got bad on my season. On our finale, Lisa.
she
Yeah.
got a lot. It got a lot of
She
airtime the whole
Prepping
season
her to be
though.
his co-host.
But I'm kind of.
Yeah.
I'm of the mentality. It's like a survival of the fittest thing. If you didn't get airtime throughout the season, I didn't get to know you throughout the season, there's a reason. You're
Well,
boring.
okay, Brenda.
Like, I don't want to know you.
Oh,
I
you don't
agree
want to know
with
Brenda?
you,
Okay.
AJ.
No, I know Brenda.
Oh, it's a double standard if you're going to say that.
No. Here's the thing about Survivor. And we all
right, let's call it
no,
like it is.
No, we all understand this is how Survivor works. just because you're non-existent in the first half of the season does not mean you're going to be. They give airtime to people who are going to be going quickly, and that's why Brandon got a lot of airtime.
There's no
recently.
way that Brenda is gonna win.
Watch.
No.
Watch. She'll be there. She'll be there at the
Her
very
character,
end.
she hasn't said one word. They have to develop the winners.
She'll be there at the very end.
No way.
I'd also say at the finale too that the questions he probably asks and goes for are what the fans are saying. So like they go into their social media and like all the.
I still love this
questions.
guy for so many reasons.
No, I'm just saying it's just like
Why don't you guys just do it and get it over with?
we did it. It was terrible.
That's the reason we're not together, sweetheart.
But I get what Jerry's saying. I think, but part of that is perpetuated because it's a circular thing. It's not just that's what the fans. That's what's given to the fans. So that's what the fans are
the fans,
talking
you have to give the fans a little bit more credit than that. Like they're tweeting, they're asking, they're writing comments about
it.
They're writing comments about stuff that means something to them. And the ones that ask the most, whether it's the most relevant or not by our opinions, that's still the question.
Nobody's still up in arms that Francesca's not around.
You guys, it's television.
Yeah.
We need their hands. We need to make. We need this. Without them, it would be boring. Would we be having this right? We've been talking this whole show about who?
Yeah.
Well, can I tell you something? Can I mention something that's not boring?
Jerry's not pleased.
Puppies
Jerry's
and
not
rainbows
pleased.
and
Speaking of puppies and
unicorns.
rainbows, not really, but this is something that's not boring, you guys, and I want to take a moment to let you guys know that our very own Maria Menounos and Kevin Undergaro just released a film. Oh, there she is, Maria. Just released a film called The Adventures of, what is it? Wait, Cereal Buddies? Adventures of Cereal Buddies. I always call it Cereal Buddies. It's the colloquial term.
Buddies? Like
Adventures of Cereal Buddies. Yes, it's released right now in Los Angeles, New York, in Boston, and I believe Chicago. There we go. Came out this last weekend, you guys. If you guys are looking for a movie that's a little bit abnormal and kind of fun and exciting, it's
Like me, Abby?
Yes,
normal?
just like Abby, just like our show here at AFTERBUZZ. It's kind of a new modern take on a serial killer film with a twist. It's kind of like a spoof parody of a serial killer film, which is kind of fun and exciting. And Kathy Lee Gifford's in it. So I mean, what else? What other reason do you guys
drunk?
need? Of course, I'm sure she's drinking wine the entire film. But if you guys are in any of those cities right now,
making clothes in it.
right now, that's where the film is playing. So if you guys could check it out, we'd really appreciate it and mean a lot to Maria, and we love her dearly, and we're so proud of her. So check it out, you guys.
Wonderful. Since we're promoting a bunch of stuff right now, can we talk a little bit about my launch next week?
Yes, let's do that right now. We're in a promotional segment of this
Here we
episode.
are. So next week I have my big launch for my beverage. It's an alcoholic beverage. It's called The Acai, and we're launching it at the Nightclub and Bars Convention.
Nice.
It's basically an alcoholic beverage made with silver craft rum. It's award-winning this year.
Gold medal.
Gold medal, yeah. And it's acai, blackberry, lime, and it's sweetened with agave, so low calorie. You can enjoy it over ice, or you can have it mixed in your drink.
It's fantastic.
And check us out.
I'm having some right now.
Yes, we are.
great.
That's what we're drinking. That's why we're all so happy.
Is there a
Jerry needs to
website?
drink a little more.
I'm drinking
There
water.
is a website.
What's the website?
The website is xicocktails.com.
Fantastic. And you're going to be at the Food and Bar Convention in Las Vegas?
Yes, and guess who I have coming with me?
Who?
Celebrity chef. Sorry, it's the ZSI talking now. Celebrity chef Ryan Scott.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
And-
it's actually,
and-
me and Malcolm. And you're a golden boy, Malcolm, that everybody loves.
I love.
And my
Pete.
lover, Peter Yurkowski.
Wait, well, I want to go.
You come, you guys.
The nightclub bar
To
convention
Vegas?
is
Yeah.
really fun.
Huge.
Ryan and I went for
Huge.
years. It's a blast.
When is it?
Blast.
When is it?
Next week. It's
Monday,
from the
Tuesday,
19th,
Wednesday, right?
The 19th until the 21st. We'll be there all week. We're going to be having parties everywhere. So
It's
And the one-
basically booths everywhere.
And the
web-
drink
The
like
website one more
crazy.
time is what?
xicocktails.com.
Fantastic. Check it out,
Nice.
you guys.
Cool.
Yes.
Moving on.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess back
Thank
to clearly the Hanses. I think one thing in terms of
I thought we moved on.
well, here's
Can we talk about booze again?
I know, right?
Well, here's one thing that Jeff said to Brandon was, is it in the blood? So is it that's the personality trait of the family, or is it like you guys have been saying, they know their brand? Abby said it's a brand.
Exactly.
They know their
Bipolar
brand.
are us.
What is it?
It's a little bit of both.
I mean, you guys have met Brandon in real life.
Yeah.
What is he like in real life?
He was mellow.
Sweet.
Nice.
Very just
Yeah.
normal person.
He really didn't have that many friends. There was like 100 of us there, and he kind of just gravitated to our group, and he just hung out
That
with
says
us.
something about someone.
Well,
right?
I don't know. He's also very young. He's married young.
With
He's had
4
kids
kids?
kids at a very young
Jesus
age.
Christ.
They were all there, and like those. convention things are kind of intimidating, I would say.
it?
Oh, yeah.
Actually,
What convention was it?
The one in Orlando, the celebration, the Survivor.
Oh, that was a charity.
some
event.
reality
Yeah.
event.
No,
event.
no,
Ooh, I
this
heard
is
there are a lot of rumors on that one.
That was
yeah,
fun.
that's actually a really good one. It's
None of
for-
them are true.
And now I'm
Okay.
going to talk a little bit about that charity because it's pretty amazing. It's called Give Kids the
Yeah.
World, and they literally grant children who are dying their
Oh my
last
God.
wish, and a lot of them, all they want is to go to Disney World. And so they fly the whole family down there. They take the kid to Disney World. They live on this compound of
For a
like
week, they got a whole.
It's
vacation.
amazing. It's like they live at a theme park, basically.
Yeah.
Are you
And
going this year?
Yeah. If they wake up like at 3 in the morning and they go, I want ice cream.
There's
a
an ice
place
cream
they
parlor
can
open
take
20
them to.
minutes.
Oh my
It's
God, I'm gonna cry.
beautiful.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, pretty
Amazing.
cool.
I am
That's
so
really cool.
passionate about kids.
Speaking of kids, though, let's
should
talk about
go.
how the kids and how they came into
Yeah.
this episode, though, because the 4 kids were brought up by Phillip, correct? Because
At the
Phillip
end.
kind of kept us cool for much of this altercation at the very end.
I love Phillip, you guys, even though
Okay,
most people don't.
Phillip's an ass. I can't stand Phillip. Like, literally, I hate Phillip more than anybody in the history of Survivor.
Have you
but
met him in real life?
Yes, he's crazy. I have I
crazy.
hung out with him. He's nuts.
Really?
I don't like the passive aggressive thing. I think that is so demeaning to people, and I understand where Brandon was coming from. Did he
Right.
handle his emotions very well? Obviously not. He's a kid,
Well-
and Phillip is a man, and Phillip knew how to kind of, because the thing is, when Brandon said, "You give everybody these stupid names, nobody likes
Yep.
them," and
did call him out
He
on his
did, and
complete
everybody
shenanigans.
backed down because most people don't like confrontation. It makes people uncomfortable. So everybody else backed down.
And
nobody,
let's not forget you're playing for $1 million.
exactly. So
Right.
nobody's
I
willing
guess
to.
Brenda was me last season
And no-
because I was speaking my mind too
Yes,
much. So
and
I
the
see
thing
your
is,
point.
so it's while I respect him for it as a gameplay, it's not very smart, obviously.
True.
But then I felt like
know.
when Phillip went in on the kids, the 4 kids apparently that Brandon's family was raising that Brandon hardly ever saw. That's
That
personal
drove me
information that had
crazy.
nothing to do with the game, and I thought that right there was the
point.
lowest moment
Good
of this
point.
seasson of Survivor. One
I
of the
give
lowest
you
moments.
that, AJ.
Yeah, and that made me.
I would go crazy if anyone would talk about my
As a
family. Yeah.
exactly, if you talk about my family,
No,
done.
no way,
And
yeah.
it
I
made
would
me
definitely
feel
have
like
said it too,
Yeah.
though.
but as a viewer,
That asshole.
that made me think there's something else that's been going on that we haven't been seeing.
True.
And if Phillip is
Lots.
willing to throw that out there in front of everybody, who knows what he's been saying to Brandon behind the scenes, and who knows
True.
maybe something he had said had put him to this point.
I will give you
I
that,
don't
AJ.
respect the way Brandon reacted, but
Right.
that was a low blow. If Phillip really is a gentleman, that was just a low blow.
Let's just say, sorry, that Brandon called him out on everything. Like literally, we were at the TV screaming because he
We
was saying
were.
everything that everyone in that tribe really would want to say because
Yeah.
he is annoying. All those stupid names,
and
like you said,
everybody
everything
talks
else,
about him in their confessionals.
They all talk
but they're
about it,
afraid.
and he had just had it, and he just spoke his mind.
And he basically, I mean, I feel like the fans already knew all that about Phillip. It's not like when
Yeah, of
Brandon said
course.
that it was a surprise, but he basically, like you said, voiced everything that everybody would have wanted to say. But I do give Phillip credit. I think Phillip, when I was watching, I was actually impressed how he handled it because he could have gone further. Okay, he did the family comment. I don't really see it as that. It's a big deal in terms of you don't attack people's family. But in terms of the scope of what Phillip could have done,
Yeah.
I feel like he strategically turned it to make himself look more sane, and he made Brandon look even crazier.
That's what crazy people do.
But he did a good job. So Phillip was basically putting all the crazy on Brandon, and I felt if I were in the game as a fan, I would have been like, actually, Phillip is kind of keeping his composure.
Don't get it twisted. I respect the gameplay by Phillip because I think in order to stay relevant in this game, he did exactly
a
what he
great
needed
job.
to do. Yes.
Yeah.
As a human being, I think
Bad
it's
move.
disgusting.
Yeah, bad move.
And as a human being, I'd probably side with Brandon.
I didn't think it was that bad.
I would have done, but I would have done exactly what Andrea done, exactly what everybody else in the tribe. I would have stuck with Phillip in that moment.
Because I think his dig when he mentioned the kids wasn't about obviously the kids at all. It was about
Him.
It was
His
a dig to
character.
him, like exactly because he had just stood there in silence, and Lord knows my ass would have been voted out because I cannot keep my mouth shut, and I would have said the exact same
And
thing.
also
'Cause that does show something about your character
to
if you're
play
not taking
both
care of your
to play
kids.
both
Yeah.
sides of it a little bit, just so that I'm not completely crazy. What sets you off more than anything is when somebody who's close to you says something that is dead on.
That's true.
And
right.
they call you out on some of your shit that's exactly right. That's what sets you off. And you could tell by the reaction. Brandon went nuts.
Yeah, he was
Yeah, he must
crazy.
have hit a nerve. There must have been some truth to that statement.
Well, I mean, let's just look at this for what it is as well, right? Brandon is the only one out of that tribe who, let Phillip get to him. Everybody else maybe is getting sick and tired of being called these names, and they don't like Phillip, and they're not on board with him 100%, but they're all alluding to that. You know why? Because they're playing a game called Survivor for $1 million. Brandon did not. He's the only one who blew up. Everybody else, he may have said what everyone else was thinking, but they're the smart ones for keeping their mouth shut.
It is really true because we've all been in this situation in our lives where you see that person who's like, just so you know, nobody likes you.
Yeah.
Whenever somebody says that, they're the person that looks stupid.
Yeah.
And you could physically see in the progression of the whole argument and the whole fight, Brandon's body and his eyes and his demeanor and his body language, he was going psycho. Like mentally
there was a switch.
Psycho. And like you had talked about earlier, Jeff recognized that and he went all Jeff Probst's talk show on him, brought him over, massaged him, and it was literally so uncomfortable and hard to watch.
Ridiculous.
It was
Okay, I just want to know, well, the whole time I was watching the massage, I kept thinking, how jealous was Dawson? Like, that's all I kept thinking.
Dawson's like, if I ever get a chance to go on, I'm going to pull a Brandon hands. Then Jeff might massage
I think
me.
Dawson would be massaging something else.
Okay, she went there.
Jeff would never allow that.
No, he's married, he has kids. He would never, but she would try.
But if you, whether you like the Hanses or not, one thing that we have to recognize, though, is tonight we saw history in the making in terms of 26 seasons of Survivor. This has never happened on Survivor.
And you can't say that very often.
You cannot say that often. And the fact that 26 seasons in, how many years later? 13 years later, this has never happened before, where they went to the immunity challenge, they forfeited, but then they held tribal council at the immunity challenge because if they would have let him go back to camp, someone may have died.
Yeah. Someone would have.
Someone may have died.
Jeff knew that. And that's, again, what made the whole situation so real and so scary to people like Andrea and Dawn.
And fun, yeah.
Because
made television.
Like Jeff knew. He could not let this guy go back to camp with everybody.
That's why he's a great host, and he should win the Emmy for Best Host every single season.
He should be nominated. Last year he wasn't even nominated.
I'm sorry, Phil Kogan, is that his name? I mean,
Betty White's amazing, but Betty White for Off Your Rockers over Jeff Probst. Not cool.
Who's that mean? Is that villain of me?
No. It was villainish.
But one thing we haven't really talked about is, let's talk about kind of the fan perspective. Let's put yourself in that position. You're a fan on the fans tribe during all of this.
Which we've not talked about the entire episode.
We haven't talked about, no, the fans, in terms of like, going forward, what are your moves now once there's a swap, does this play a huge role, or is it just kind of a one-round thing for you?
It could be an opportunity for them to see, like, look, because I would just assume, and again, I've never played Survivor, and I want your take on this. I would assume that you probably always assume that the other tribe always has it better than you, no matter what. No matter how miserable you are, you must assume, like, they're probably over there just fine.
AJ, in the game of Survivor, every minute changes.
Yeah.
When you're there, you can never predict. Every minute changes.
And people lie.
And
we used to do that. We used to go to challenges and go, oh, yeah, we're doing great over there. We just blah, blah, blah. And we did this, we did that, you know, just to, like, break down the morale.
So basically, you do what you would do on Facebook after a breakup. I'm having so much fun.
You know,
I went to dinner tonight.
I'm taking pictures of you everywhere.
I was injured the whole time. No one believed me. So I had a surgery. When the game was over, I was back, and then everybody saw me with, like, a whole leg cast.
Did Survivor do your surgery?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, CBS took care of it.
That's a good place to hurt yourself. Just saying.
No, yeah, CBS, CBS had the Lakers doctor take care of me. Like, yeah, I got the best treatment ever. Thanks, CBS. I love you. They really took care of me, but no one in that island believed that I had an injury.
Because you're crazy.
Crazy Brazilian with a big booty.
Yeah. I think we did get to see, though, I think Reynold showed he's like kind of playing this politician type role where Jeff said,
Very
you know, how's it going? And Reynold said, well, you know, we look over there, they have more than we have, they have won every challenge, but in the end, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
We're playing Survivor. Exactly. It was like, Reynold knows what he's doing.
No, he's playing the long game.
It's because he's playing the longer game.
He's thinking, $1 million. I've got a long way to go to get there.
Yeah.
I'm going to take every step now to make that happen.
He's great at challenges. He's good.
You don't like him.
He has it all.
I don't, because here's the thing, and this is
he's smart.
This is why after all these seasons, and the more I realize, like the more people I meet that like Abi-Maria, like you did well, but you didn't win the show.
Unfortunately.
No, but like
because Michael was an idiot and a moron.
Well, I feel like
Jerry hates it when I'm joking. Michael, I love you, but
I feel like I would be the villain, the villain who got brought to the finale and didn't get a vote.
I like him. I really do. I really like Michael.
Well, I watch these and I think when I listen to Reynold, I'm like, you douchebag. It's so transparent. It's so obvious what you're trying to do right now. That's how I think. But I feel like the majority of the tribes are probably like, oh, he's a sweet guy.
Well, here's the thing I would like to point out. I think when they swap next week, you're going to have those women on the favorite side be so excited to have Reynold and Eddie and these other guys on their tribe compared to Cochran.
You act like they're just pieces of meat.
No, but what I'm saying is those girls are going to be Jerri and Abby. Abby's hooking up with a guy from her season. How much is that
That's not public.
in terms of are they?
That's not.
Oh, you're not.
It is now.
It's
Survivor romance. It happens
Is
all
she
the
hooking
time.
up with someone?
You're okay.
I don't know.
Oh, I thought she said
Who
she was earlier.
Weird. Who knows?
No, I thought she was.
Nobody listens
earlier
to us
saying
anyways.
Yeah, she's hooking up with Angie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, Angie.
Lisa-
where
I heard that
you?
happen.
Lisa
That's a hot girl.
Welchel. Lisa Welchel.
I thought you said earlier. No, I'll have to go play
Yeah,
that
no.
tape back.
Why are you so red?
No.
Because I thought she said earlier she was hooking up with someone from her
We're
season.
messing with you.
Yeah.
Yes. But no, I'm
Oh.
hooking up with Angie and Katie.
Oh,
okay,
You know,
gotcha.
That's an exclusive.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter anyway. Everybody's gonna know about it.
I know.
Honestly,
One
be
way or
proud. So there's Survivor romances all over the
I
place.
am proud.
I'm actually-
I am proud.
I'm actually sleeping with, not dating, but sleeping with Jerri Manthey. So that's just.
Oh.
Yes,
all
we
you
talked
guys
about this last week.
rumor.
AFTERBUZZ TV exclusive.
Reynold.
We don't kiss.
I'm yeah.
She has great lips though.
I like to say I'm a I used to always say I was a fag hag, but I'm a fruit fly. I've learned over the years that it's politically incorrect to say fag hag.
Things have changed.
So-
Things have changed since season 2 of Survivor.
Our show is out of control. No, but I did check Reynolds' Facebook. It does say that he is married still. We talked about that last week.
Oh, is it?
Really?
Because they apparently
So
he had a
Brenda's got no
showmance
shot.
too or something.
And Brenda's engaged.
That's the rumor.
Brenda's engaged?
Yes, right. Brenda's engaged, correct?
Who's Brenda?
Brenda. The hot young piece on the
She's
favorites.
so cute.
So beautiful.
She's friends with Corinne.
Is she? Who?
No,
What?
I don't know.
Yeah.
DSI is working? Like, what? I am in a tropical island right now.
Lord, lower the
Not
screen.
playing
Lower the
Survivor.
screen.
Oh, funny. So what do you guys think in terms of moving forward now?
Are we going to make predictions though?
We don't have to necessarily make predictions, but in terms of we don't have to say who's going to get.
Well, we are at minute
Well,
51 right now.
I'll just say that I think that now actually there's going to be a game being
Yes.
played versus
Yeah.
drama.
Woo!
That's the only time it gets good, I'm telling you, is right when they merge and do something, not merge,
gonna
but like switch
swap.
it up. That's when it
Well, yeah,
becomes way more fun.
and the bad apple has been taken out of the basket. So now we can actually focus on why we're all there to begin
Healing.
with, which is Survivor, the game to win $1 million.
Is that really why we're all there? I thought we were all there to give Malcolm a chance again. I thought that's what it was about.
Golden boy.
One
So
thing
what's up with him? Why does everybody love Malcolm so much?
Because
We
he's a
wonder.
great player.
Yeah,
Is
he's
he?
a yeah.
He's a great
Or
player.
is he just hot?
Well,
I don't think he's that hot. No, Malcolm is the right amount of everything. He's kind of like an Aussie. He's not really
Is
hot.
he?
He's not really a dominator in the challenges, but he's really good. He's got a good all-around game.
He's likable.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's likable.
He is definitely likable.
He doesn't talk shit about
You
people.
root for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's good at standing back, watching, observing,
Right.
shifting,
Yeah.
and being malleable.
I
And
was telling her in the car too.
Kicking butt.
The reason why we bonded with him is because he was on Tribal like the whole beginning of the season.
Yes.
So he had such a
Underdog.
long season. Do you know what
I
I mean?
still haven't forgiven him for giving me his last idol.
Wow.
I'm just joking.
We all.
my advice would be get over it.
Thanks, Jerry.
Love it. We saw, I mean, based on the preview, you
Love you,
have
Malcolm.
Phillip going after Corinne, Corinne going after Phillip. One thing I do
boy.
like with the swap or the merge, whatever it is, there are a lot of factions on both sides. I think that's what's fun when you have a merge or a swap where it's factions. You have the fan side, you have Reynold and Eddie clearly on the outs, so they know that going into a swap. Then you have this Phillip, Corinne divide, and that's also Brenda. Where does she fall? She's on the outs of that alliance.
She's going to dominate the second
Hopefully
half of the
she
season.
comes back. I would love to see her make some moves.
A
Yeah.
hot girl.
I think if there's
Yes.
a merge next week, I think Phillip is in trouble because Brandon
pretty
did
now.
put a target on his back by mentioning him and making him out to be a crazy
And
person.
also notice that who was the person who really kind of defended Phillip and stood up for Phillip in the tribal council? It was Corinne.
Yeah.
And how quickly she turns on him next week
I
as soon as things change.
know.
So what does that
Good
mean for the rest
point.
of the tribe members? Who else is going to turn on him right away?
It's more fun that way when the alliances
It's
go like
so
that.
hard to put your neck out there, especially with $1 million
now
on the line.
Now
Yep.
the game started. Now it's like it was boring to today. Today was awesome.
Well, let's also point out Philip's going to have to like name more names for everybody else. So that's going to be a creative part of next week.
You know, I've had very little interaction with Phillip. I think I told you guys before that I talked to him before he left to go play the
Yeah.
game. but I don't know what he's like. I don't know what your experience was, but I just think there's something about him that is so intriguing and so interesting. And he literally has everyone wondering, is he really
For real?
a specialist? Is that like some completely made up character?
This is like hands talk to me to you. That's like
Exactly.
the reverse.
Exactly.
That's the reverse of me.
That's
I just want to throw out.
That's exactly what I was thinking, because I understand that. I can respect that. There is something. He's one of those players that can make it to the finale of most seasons of Survivor, but will never, ever, ever win. He just won't.
I think he's so
win.
entertaining.
Yeah, there's just something about him. Like I'm wondering how much of what he's talking about is complete total BS.
Just so we're clear, I'm into black men very much so, and there's nothing about him that interests me at all.
Too
At all.
much.
Just saying.
Well, you're into the young, hot black men,
It's time to
honey.
wrap this show up. This show is way over time.
Let's wrap it up.
Are we over?
I think we are.
Way over.
We've been talking and talking and talking.
Well, thank you guys for listening, and definitely check us out every week next week here on AfterBuzz TV. So let's go around and give us Jerri, where can people reach you at?
You can twatter me at Jerri Manthey, or you can find me at Facebook, Jerri Manthey 2.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at _AJ Gibson. Please check out my website, ajgibson.tv as well.
Oh, also JerriManthey.com.
Oh, well, there you go.
I always forget that one.
Youngandhung.com here.
Neither.
I knew it.
Did you just have a birthday? I don't know if
Look
you're
at
young.
those-
Oh, yeah, it's my birthday. Happy birthday to me.
Happy
everybody.
belated
Look at those
birthday.
thumbs. Look at those thumbs.
I know, it's out of control.
Are you 40 yet?
Shut the F
What
up.
size do you wear?
Close to over the hill.
Silence. Let me get my information. Twitter, Ryan A. Carrillo, and on Instagram. And also, really quickly, we should say Reality Rallies in 2 weeks. It's in Temecula. If you want to see Jerri, AJ, or myself, you can go check us out, participate, race with us. You can also donate under our name. It's a fantastic cause. And
RealityRally.com.
.com,
Great.
people. 2 weeks.
Abby.
At the Abi-Maria.
And your website one more time.
Cocktails, xicocktails.com.
And where can people vote for you?
Reality.
Wanted.com.
Wanted.com. Thank
And
you.
who are
I
you
always
dating?
forget that.
Moving
I
on.
am dating
Angie.
myself and I. Angie and
Angie.
Katie, the hotties.
And I'm dating Jerry.
Actually, no. I'm dating
We'll have to talk to
property.
my husband about that.
Okay, we're dating Phillip.
Well, and you can find me at Justin F. Walter, justinwalter.com. Thank you guys for tuning in.
From
Love you guys.
Ben.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff. We would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.